to Should I Stay or Should I Go movie reviews. Tonight's movie is The Darkest Hour. It's my turn to start, so I'm going to go ahead, and it was my pick as well. Really been looking forward to this movie. Gary Oldman plays Winston Churchill in the time right before, it's right around the same time as Dunkirk. What else can I say about it? It's a great movie, really well done. Only the first couple minutes you kind of look into Gary Oldman's eyes and can realize it's him. After that, you're like, this is Winston Churchill, and we're kind of a fly on the wall on a piece of history. So I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it an 8. Not sure why I don't give it anything more than that, but that's kind of what struck me as the right score for this one was an 8. So, Sharon?
I too loved the movie. I'm going to complain a little bit because I think it's been out for a little while. Is that true?
Yes.
And our local theaters here in the town where we live just got this movie. So I'm a little disappointed. It was a great movie. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the characters all did a really good job. I don't know the one guy's name that played in Bloodline, but he did a good
Mendelsohn.
job. Ben Mendelsohn did a really good
great.
job. And Gary Oldman did
He's
a really good
the guy
job.
that played the prince, right? Or the king?
The king.
Yep.
I thought it was a really good, interesting movie. I was extremely compelled. I liked that it tied into the Dunkirk story. That was kind of a nice tie-in for me since we all love Dunkirk so much. Anyhow, I love the movie. 8 stars for me.
Nice. Yeah. I guess I'm late in the game in appreciating Gary Oldman as a great actor. And I've enjoyed everything that I've seen with him pretty much. But he did a really fantastic bang-up job on this film. I thought his secretary did a really good job too.
She's good. I don't know who
They
she
brought
is.
different elements to the movie that were really touching. And speaking of that, there were a couple times, honestly, I was very moved by the film. I mean, even thinking about it right now, I get a little choked up about a particular scene there. And it was a little plotting and methodical, and I think it was historically accurate. I think they pretty much tried to stick to the whole thing. And we all know a lot about Churchill and World War II, but there was definitely a lot of insight that I didn't have on the movie. And Mendelsohn did a great job, really great cast, and kept you interested, and I liked it very much. And I also give it an 8.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm giving it a 9, even though y'all gave it an 8. That was the number that I chose when I walked out of the theater. It was very good. The only thing that I had a problem with is something that they had mentioned at the beginning in the story was, when he was telling the secretary that you need to listen to him because he has a tendency to mumble. And he did a very good job of mumbling throughout the movie, and I kind of wished from time to time that they had closed captioning so that I was able to say,
What was that?
What did he say?
Why does he have subtitles and I don't?
Yeah. So
There were some things I leaned over and I said, "What did he say?"
Yeah, it was hard to, because you couldn't read his lips either. So, but it was very good, and I had made a comment on the way home that I enjoy watching these kinds of movies because they're about history, but it kind of makes me feel not as smart, I guess you can say, because I didn't know anything about Winston Churchill, and I guess Tom made a comment that it's better to be late than not at all, and
yeah, I think we all probably learned a little bit.
Yes, we did.
We didn't know in that movie.
Definitely.
And I really enjoyed the fact that we had, like Sharon said, seen Dunkirk and understood that portion, because that was another one that I had no idea about, and we saw that portion of it, so it tied in, and then I understood kind of what was going on. Not a war person from history. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know what I learned in school, which wasn't any of the nitty-gritties.
Well, you went to normal, so.
Oh, boy. But I thought that the I don't remember what's his name, Winston Churchill's name.
Gary
Oldman.
I think he did a very good job. I think that the king did a very good job of and the secretary. Those were, and to be honest, I thought that The person who acted as Winston Churchill's wife
Yeah.
did a good job. You know, she didn't have a huge role, but she was able to say, you know, kind of give a little bit of detail on Winston Churchill's personality prior to the whole movie beginning. So I thought that was nice also.
Yeah, she did a really good job and helped kind of give the background on how his family had to support him and
Right.
the sacrifices they made and things like that. So she did a good job too and gave him a little context there.
She did.
So if you're not aware of the movie, the timeline starts. You pick up in the movie the day before Winston Churchill is asked to become prime minister, and you really get a good insight as to what he had to go through. And really, you know, it's one of those things that the great thing about it is we all knew how the movie would end, because we knew that he was he was prime minister through World War II, and the fact that you know what happened in the war. There's certain battles and key events that we knew were going to take place, and so that wasn't going to change anything. But you know, to see the inside story and how even back then politics was a dirty game.
Yeah.
But so, anybody else have anything you want to add, or?
Well, we can move on to the spoiler area, I guess. Or
Sure.
Sure.
I guess there aren't a lot of spoilers,
No.
so are there?
I mean, you know the movie.
Everybody
I
knows
mean,
the Nazis didn't win.
I have a question if you guys want to answer it
Yeah.
for me. Do you suppose that he really did go to the people on the train on the underground during that time and actually get that advice and seek their opinions that helped mold his decision?
That would be something. It would be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Because that was
I thought that was
interesting.
very interesting.
Well-
But you know, even if he didn't, that could have been a little. I mean, sometimes what they'll do, I have noticed that in documentaries or movies like that, they, instead of doing all of the little things that he had done, they just kind of clump it all up into one little thing.
Well,
So that's what
right.
they did it as. So he could have just been
Right.
getting.
The Hollywood version of
Yeah.
He could have been getting information from the public and via
Right.
letter, via whatnot.
Yeah. I liked the whole reference because they brought it in earlier in the movie where he said, you know, I wasn't raised that way. I didn't go underground. I've never ridden a train. I've
Right.
never done that. So then they tied that in with him talking with the people. So I wasn't sure if all that was
Yeah, and that part was
historically accurate.
the king and he were talking, and the king recommended go talk to the people and see what they think. So he went amongst the people and got some opinions and things.
it's funny when they're in the war room and they're talking and they're trying to press him one way and he's like just spinning like out of control trying to figure I have no idea what to do. Go stand out on the street corner. Ask the guy down the street that's selling newspapers.
It was really
what
the
would he
king.
think? Should I
Right.
surrender or should I not?
Right.
Yeah, and how funny because the king really didn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great first scene when they first
Yes, right.
when they first meet, that was so awkward. The
Oh,
king
yes.
did not want Churchill to be the
No.
prime minister, and Ben Mendelsohn and the chemistry there, or I guess you would call it the lack of, but good acting.
Yes,
It was really good, and he eventually won the king over,
Yes.
and they had really good chemistry and kind of
And the king's
bonded.
really what moved him to make the decision that he made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You know,
sure,
do this. Listen to the people.
right.
Talk
Now-
to the people.
And that was the big decision: was
Yeah.
do we seek a peace accord and negotiations with Hitler, or do we stand and we will fight forever? Victory at all costs type thing. And so everybody knows where that
But
went.
if he didn't want, if the guy who kept saying you need to go through
Halifax?
negotiations,
Mhm.
why didn't he take it if he really wanted it?
Because he knew that the job was going to be very hard.
Yes.
And if they failed, if the prime minister failed, he did not want to be the one that failed.
He wanted to be
So
the one to come in after.
That's why they picked.
That's what you think he did?
Yes.
That's why they picked
Yes.
Churchill, is so he could be a scapegoat because he failed
The Patsy.
at Gallipoli,
Yes.
and
Okay.
they wanted to be able to blame it on him if it
Because
went
they
south.
basically said how many times that he had made so many terrible decisions and how everything
Yeah.
that he'd done pretty much was wrong. And so, yes, he was a scapegoat. And then
Yeah.
this guy was going to come in and,
Save the day.
Yeah, let him fail and
Yeah,
I'll come
yes.
and save him.
yeah, and
That's
this is a mess and we failed, but now I'm going to fix it.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Just think how much different. Now we should have the man in the high tower, or the high castle.
Oh, yeah.
Now we should have one. What happened if they surrendered to Hitler? Just think how much different the UK
Right.
would be and what would have
No
happened.
kidding.
And is
Yeah.
it really true that what the king said in the movie, where he said, you know, yes, I am a little afraid of you, and that's the reason why you are a good prime minister, is because Hitler is afraid of you too. Is that true?
Probably. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
That there are some questions I wonder if
Yeah.
how historically accurate
Yeah.
it is. I mean, they have all those accounts, so I would hope and think that they wouldn't have to dramatize it too much, because it truly was real life drama.
Yeah, it was drama. And honestly, and maybe you guys can answer this for me too. I have a lot of questions after watching the movie. We didn't get to, we don't talk about it much. So the whole tie-in with the Dunkirk, and I didn't know. Did they tell you in Dunkirk? I guess I didn't. I'm not a history buff either by any means, so I didn't realize that Winston Churchill was the prime minister at the time that was happening, and I didn't actually realize that he was the person that actually instigated the whole civilian rescue. Did they talk about that in Dunkirk? Did I miss that?
No, yeah, they did.
The only thing they said is that
little.
Dunkirk and the Admiralty, or Churchill and the Admiralty, had requested any civilian with
Okay.
a boat. They,
So it would have been a slight reference, and I probably just missed
they
it.
very made it
So-
much seem like it was an idea that Churchill had while talking to that girl.
And weren't they? Didn't they also actually replay some of the speech and things from actual Churchill on Dunkirk?
Right.
They didn't mention Calais much either on
Right.
Dunkirk, but I think the whole focus of Dunkirk was that event only.
Yes, it
and
was.
that took the whole
Yes,
movie for
yeah.
sure. So,
So anyway,
Yeah.
It made me want to read some books about it and learn more about it. For
same
sure.
here.
Yep,
Yeah,
me too.
definitely.
Anyhow, so go see it.
Yes.
You probably have already had the
Thumbs up.
opportunity where you live.
You should go. Let's talk about that really quick though. I'm really troubled by the new releases not making it to our theaters.
Yes, me too.
I mean, we've got so many mediocre movies, and the Daniel Day-Lewis movie's
looks
been out since
great.
before Christmas, and it's still not showing within 50 miles. I checked.
Phantom
Yeah.
Thread. Is that
Phantom
the movie
Thread.
you're speaking of?
Yes.
Yes, I
Um,
want to see it.
Shape of Water. There's any number of movies. Go look at the current list of movies that were nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
We don't have any of them.
If it wasn't Star Wars or one of the Avenger movies, wow,
Yeah.
Avenger movies or something like that,
Coco.
you don't.
Disney, yeah.
Well, that problem stems from the thing that we talked about, where the studios are in bed with the theater companies, especially these large AMC, Marcus, all these companies that have branches all over the country, and they buy studio time, they buy screen time, and say, but only if you get this movie, you also have to play this movie.
Yes.
So the companies want Star Wars,
Right.
but they don't necessarily want Coco, maybe, or
But what we talked about, right? I mean, there's 3 pretty big theaters in this town, and
Yes.
not to mention Peoria, Champaign, and whatever else. I mean, wouldn't you want to split up the movies a little bit? So hey, they don't have that. Maybe if we get it, we'll get some more.
They don't. They
it's
play
just
the
getting
same stuff
frustrating.
anyhow.
I guess it's just because we're being saturated by
Yeah.
crap.
I really want to see The Shape of Water, and I think we're going to have to make a trip up north to Chicago or to Indianapolis to see
I know,
it.
I know it's gonna.
I
be
want
on
to see it on the
Netflix
big screen
before-
because I want to
Right.
experience it in that way.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's annoying.
We digress, but
Indeed. Go see the movie.
go see the movie.
Like, share, subscribe. See you later.